Well, hey everybody, it's November and the big election in the US is over. Thank goodness. I think everybody was done talking about it, but I waited specifically to do this video until after the election because I was really curious to see just what would happen, after this election. And we're already seeing what I thought would happen. Whether you love Trump or whether you hate Trump, the markets are moving, and maybe it's just the fact that people are just feeling like, okay, it's over. We can maybe move on. Or maybe there's some people that just feel like Trump will have a good positive impact on Alberta. Whatever way you are thinking, it does look like it's going to have a positive impact on Alberta, and it's already happening right now, and I've seen it. I can tell you our phone has been ringing a little more right after this election is over. I don't know all the reasons why it is, but it is a good thing, and I'm happy to see that. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through what happened in October, and I'm going to give you some bold predictions on what I think is going to happen here over the next few months coming into 2025. Everything looks good for Alberta. Everything looks good for Calgary, but I'm going to show you with the stats, so stay tuned on this video. Now, if you've been watching the markets, you'll notice we absolutely peaked in around the third week of May of this year in 2024. And since May, what's happened is our level of inventory in Calgary and the surrounding areas has increased. The demand has still been there. Like it's a pretty decent demand, but there's all of a sudden got to be a lot more choice. And if you look on this chart here, you can see that if you're looking the October of 23 versus 24, you can see year over year, we didn't knock it out of the park on any price increases, as you see on some of these areas. The Northeast was the big winner, and the East was the big winner. Northeast at 7.8%, and the East at 11.5%. The city center holding pretty steady at 1.1%. We head down south, pretty good, 6.2%, and the southwest quadrant of the city and the southeast at 5%. So still healthy gains, but you're going to want to pay attention to some of these stats because there's no question we have leveled off. We definitely are not seeing any major price increases now because the inventory level has increased. Okay, so these numbers really tell it all. So here we are right there in October 2024. You can see we did 2,174 sales. That's actually more than October 23 right here, which was 2,169. That's a good thing. But here's where things look really interesting. Look at our inventory, 4,966. Last year, this time, 3,205. We got 3,264 new listings in this month of October. And that's the difference. Having 54.95% more inventory than a year ago is giving buyers a lot more choice, and that's what's really leveled things off, and it's created more of a balanced market. And so now we just don't have the same kind of frenzy that we did in the spring, and that's why prices were rising. It wasn't that our demand was necessarily any greater than the last couple of years in Calgary. It's just that in the spring we just didn't have enough inventory to meet the demand, and for whatever reason, a lot more people have put their properties on the market, and now we've got 5,000 listings. And so if you're selling, you got to pay attention to that. This is not a time to be speculating and coming up with pie in the sky prices that I'm seeing some people try and do, because buyers, when they have this kind of choice, they're not going to pay attention to your listing. They're just going to go to the listing that is priced where the market value should be. So that's something that you're really going to have to think about in your pricing. But the demand is there. I mean, 2,174 sales. I mean, that's a great month for Calgary for October. I mean, that is above average. Normally, if you look back over the last 15 years, we would see around 1,900 sales. So this is good. The demand is still there. It's more of a balanced market, which, by the way, really is a healthy market to be in. If you're buying and selling in the same market, oh sure, maybe if you're selling and leaving and going to Saskatchewan and you want to cash out at the peak of a seller's market, it would be better for you there. But most people tend to be selling and buying in the same market, and it's good to have some extra levels of inventory to choose from. You're not quite under the gun, especially for people who don't really want to move twice, feel more comfortable selling their house, maybe asking the buyer to take a 3-month possession. You got plenty of inventory to look at and find your next home. So benchmark price, everybody likes to know this. We hit 592,500. So, we're up year over year change 4.53%. That does include condominium. So, there's your benchmark price for, all products included in Calgary at 592. So that's still, if you look at, the big cities like Toronto and Vancouver, Calgary, or even Ottawa. I mean, Ottawa is even a little bit more expensive than that. I mean, we're basically 4th place when it comes to a major city in Canada for where pricing is. And I know some people might look at that and go, wow, that's not that affordable. But I think with interest rates also coming down, that still makes Calgary pretty affordable. And I really think that's what's going to be why we're going to have continued strong demand into 2025. But stay tuned. Let's look a little bit more here. I got some more stats for you to look at before you draw any conclusions. Okay, so this chart in the blue is showing our month's supply of inventory. So even though I'm really optimistic for 2025, things still can change for the worse. There's some things that can happen that we don't expect. And one thing that could really make it challenging for sellers is if this inventory continues to rise. And you can see right here, if you take a look at where we are, you can see that we are rising right now. We all understand supply and demand. It's pretty simple. But if we're start hitting larger inventory levels like we saw in 21 or in 20, what we would obviously start seeing there is some price dropping. And, I'm not really expecting that to happen. I think with the competitive interest rates that we're going to be having, maybe things might change with getting our oil to market in Alberta a little bit more under the Trump regime. I don't know. It's hard to say what will happen there, but that could be something that could help Alberta, could bring in more jobs for Alberta, more money. I think we're all got our fingers crossed that will happen. But that's just something to pay attention to. So, if you're a buyer, those numbers actually look pretty good. But like I said, if you're selling, that's going to be part of the challenge. And this red line you can see is our price increases. Now, some of you that are watching this video might be looking at Canada as a whole. And this is oftentimes when I get people reaching out to me that are maybe new to Alberta or planning on moving here, and they're looking at some of these charts that the Canadian market puts out, the Canadian Real Estate Association. And even though it's good to look at these charts, but I want to just emphasize something. Real estate is local, and Alberta doesn't traditionally follow the trends of the rest of Canada. We're a little bit of an island on our own when it comes to especially residential real estate. I mean, for example, you look back in 2015, we peaked. By 2016, our prices were softening. We had a lot more inventory, less demand from 2016 all the way to 2020 where COVID hit. While you looked at Vancouver and Toronto, they were going gangbusters. We were dropping in price. They were going gangbusters. Now the opposites happened. It's been softening in Vancouver and Toronto, and we've remained strong. So that's why I said we don't follow the normal trend. But anyway, that said, look at these charts here. You can see that our residential sales activity has been holding strong since 2023 for the Canadian market. When you take all markets into consideration, new listings, though, you can see right here, they're on the rise, and that is something that we got to pay attention to. That is, that is definitely going to be a concern. We're hitting these kind of levels going back to 2022. Now, again, we're talking the whole Canadian market, so just put that in perspective and don't put a lot of weight on that when it comes to Alberta. Residential market balance, and the blue is our months of inventory for Canada. So you can see we're sitting right there in this holding pattern all the way back to 2023. So we're not seeing any ridiculous high levels of inventory in any markets. This chart right here, though, our average price, and I deliberately put this little bit of a triangle here because I used to do a lot of stock trading, and they taught us that this kind of a pattern shows that oftentimes you're getting into a breakout type of a pattern when it goes into this type of a look with this triangle. If you believe in technical charts. If you don't believe in technical charts, just ignore that comment. But I just thought it's interesting when I saw that. And who knows, maybe we are in a breakout for all of Canada. I don't necessarily expect Toronto and Vancouver to all of a sudden, come out of this thing and go gangbusters in 2025, but stranger things have happened. Here's the big story. You can see there's Alberta. We've seen our 10% price increases, so we've been pretty good, and you can see that BC has not done so well. Ontario has not done so well. New Brunswick has done very well. Nova Scotia has done really well. Saskatchewan has done really well. And I think we're going to see probably, just because of our inventory levels are not as good, they're a lot higher than they were. I think we're going to see not quite as much growth as far as price increases next year, which is, by the way, healthy. To be at about 2 to 4% increase is a pretty healthy increase. So I think we're going to get back down to normal levels. And then this chart right here shows the housing price index, the benchmark price, and that takes into account different products. And you can see that pattern kind of looks really similar to this pattern here. Nothing earth-shattering when it comes to that. So let me just wrap up this video. I'm going to make this video a little bit shorter this time around, just by saying this. Right now, if you're thinking of buying in Calgary, there is an advantage to looking this time of year. November and December, what tends to happen is a lot of people who are thinking of selling quite often will put it off now till next year because they don't want to deal with the holiday season. So you're going to find that a lot of inventory is going to start to drop. However, the people who do list are generally motivated for one reason or another. Maybe they found a property that they want to buy and they want to get their house sold. Maybe a job opportunity came in a different city. They need to leave and get their house on the market during the holiday season. Some people just don't even believe in Christmas or celebrate Christmas. So, they don't really care about the holiday season. So they just, follow their own timeline. So the bottom line is you're going to find that there'll be less buyers looking this time of year, but less inventory. And sometimes you can do well. And I've had people approach me this time of year and I've said, hey, let's look. And even last year, I remember writing an offer on the 26th of December and got ourselves a pretty good deal. Now, the same thing it goes when you're selling. You got a situation where the competition may drop off, especially if you're, I had to reach out to somebody the other day who's got a property out in Chestermere. It's a townhouse, and right now there was 12 other townhouses for sale because a whole bunch of people bought them on spec, and they're now, they took possession of them in August, and the competition's pretty fierce. And I was the one that said to him, I wouldn't take it off the market for Christmas. I'd leave it on there because you'll see that some people will take it off the market and you might end up with only 2 or 3 in that complex. That could increase your chances of getting it sold. So those are the considerations you want to make when you're coming into the Christmas season. That being said, it all looks good. It's a balanced market, which means, hey, it's really good for buyers and sellers right now. And if you're interested in getting an evaluation on your property and some tips on maybe some minor things that you can do to increase its value, just reach out to me. We have a new program where we're able to get the flooring installed if you need new floors, if you need some painting done. We have a new program where you don't even have to pay for that up front. It comes out of the proceeds of the sale on the back end. So we make it really easy for you to do that because so often we do find that homes need some flooring and paint just to spruce them up a little bit. You get that extra bit of money for it. So we look at that with you. We also have our home sold guaranteed program. If we can't get your home sold at a price that's acceptable to you, we'll buy it from you. So these are fantastic programs to take advantage of. So just reach out to me. There's no cost or obligation for our initial consultations. You don't have to feel bad if you decide not to do anything or decide to hire another firm, but at least you'll get my professional opinion about what you should do and how you can maximize your sale price in this market. All right, look forward to seeing you in December.